Before this gets taken down, hit subscribe, like, and leave a comment with the street you keep your lights on. If I disappear after this upload, you'll know why. They called it a welfare check, but the first officer's body cam caught more than worry. The front door of 28 Briar Lane stood open to the night air. A mug sat on the foyer table, still steaming. Inside, the television played a looping screensaver. No signs of struggle. No sign of the homeowner, Samir Patel. And on the wall, the Ring camera's hub glowed a soft, unblinking blue, like an eye that never closed. The neighbors had reported an alert that wouldn't stop. Motion detected. Person detected. Package detected. Over and over. For hours. When Detective Mara Quinn arrived at 3:41 a.m., the doorbell chimed by itself, 9 minutes after the last time, exactly on schedule. Quinn's team bagged the mug, swabbed the knob, and took the obvious. The smart home logs, the router, the hub. Joel Park, the tech analyst, said the weird part out loud. Power outage at 1:13 a.m. in a 2-block radius, he noted, scrolling. But the Ring kept uploading. No gap. Battery? Quinn asked. Battery would have posted a brownout notice, Joel said. This posted nothing, and it never stopped recording. Across the street, a porch light flicked on. A figure watched them from behind a lace curtain. Ms. Lena Ortiz, the neighbor who made the first call, waved them over with a trembling hand. Her phone screen lit her face like a ghost lantern. I got the feed alert, she said, showing Quinn. The video froze on a man's silhouette at Samir's door, shoulders squared, head bowed, as if listening. But there was no one there when I looked out. I swear. Quinn replayed the clip. The man never shifted. Not a breath, not a blink. Just the sleeve of a jacket catching the porch light, steel grey with a frayed cuff. Looped footage, Joel White. Spared. Someone pushed a loop to the alert. Back inside, Quinn stood under the unblinking hub. The walls smelled faintly of ozone and lemon cleaner. Samir's office door was locked. Joel worked the latch and stepped into a space that looked more like a small server closet than a home office. Hard drives hummed low. A sheet of printer paper was taped to the wall. Network guest, Naraya guest, pass, Magellan, 0. Below it, a list of device names, cams, locks, a garage opener. None of it unusual for a tech consultant like Samir. But there was another list, handwritten, numbers and street names in a careful block script, including half the houses on Briar Lane. Who else has access to your doorbell, Samir? Quinn murmured to the glowing hub. Joel mirrored the camera's admin portal onto his tablet. An access log bloomed. Owner, Samir P. Shared users, HOA, admin, Lena O, HVAC push maint, realtor demo. HOA admin, Quinn said. Who's that? President is Tom Rusk, number 12, Lena supplied from the doorway. He has everyone on the neighborhood app for, safety. Quinn and Joel traded a look. They followed the Ethernet cable from the hub, not to the router, but through a drilled hole behind the desk, down into the crawl space. Someone had run a second line, neatly stapled along the joists, out through a vent into the hedges. At 4:07 a.m., a delivery truck rumbled past and slowed. The driver glanced toward them, then kept going. Quinn's phone vibrated. Dispatch had found Samir's car 2 blocks away with the driver's seat neatly adjusted, fingerprints wiped clean, and the passenger seatbelt clicked as if it had been holding someone who didn't want to be seen by traffic cameras. Race the clock, Quinn said. If this is a snatch, we're still in the window. They hit number 12. Tom Rusk opened his door in a robe and HOA charm. Detective, is this about the old Mutaj? I filed a service ticket. Mind if we look at your network closet? Quinn asked. Network closet? He laughed. This is a craftsman, not a data center. They stepped into a house that smelled like sour coffee and fresh paint. On the kitchen island, a box cutter lay atop a pile of peeled return labels. Quinn's eye caught a sliver of adhesive on Tom's thumb. A faint white crescent of scar tissue curved along his wrist, just where the frayed cuff in the looped footage had hidden a mark. Joel's tablet pinged from Samir's office across the street, still logged into the Ring admin panel. A new motion alert appeared, not at Samir's door, at Tom's. Side entrance, Joel said, eyes widening. Camera name, basement bulkhead. Tom's smile faltered as Quinn followed the ping through the hall, down a narrow staircase. A padlock sat on a steel hatch. Fresh, bright metal. No dust. Mr. Rusk, Quinn said evenly. Open it. My wife is asleep, he protested. This is ridiculous. Quinn didn't raise her voice. Now. The key turned with a chirp. The hatch groaned. Cold air lifted, smelling of earth and warm electronics. The stairs dropped into dark. Quinn clicked her flashlight on and moved first, Joel behind her. The beam found cinder block, a workbench, a tangle of cables, and against the far wall, a bank of monitors. Dozens of thumbnail windows, each a front door, a driveway, a living room. Briar Lane, every angle. And in the center screen, a live view filled the frame. A chair bolted to the floor, its seat empty, a single strip of tape hanging loose. On the concrete just below, a stainless ring, the kind from a doorbell camera, glinted like a coin. Wait, Joel said softly, pointing. Bottom right, that's not Briar Lane. Quinn followed his finger to a small window labeled Guest, showing an unmarked storage unit corridor. Red doors, unit numbers stenciled in white. The image shook as if someone had just set the camera down and walked away. The door of Unit 117 stood slightly open. Quinn felt her stomach drop. He didn't. Take Samir home, she said. He took him off the map. She holstered her flashlight and looked at Tom. His robe belt trembled. She could see it in his eyes. The calculation. The retreat. Get the warrant, Quinn told Joel, and call it in. We're going to 117. When they slid the storage unit's door 2 inches, stale cold air seeped out. Inside, something whirred, steady as a heartbeat. And on the floor, beyond the threshold, lay a phone face down, its screen vibrating with a missed call from HOA admin. Before you scroll, don't forget, subscribe, because after this chapter, you'll start checking your own cameras before you sleep. Rain had started to fall by the time Detective Mara Quinn reached the storage facility. Rows of red steel doors stretched endlessly into the dark, their numbers slick with water. Floodlights buzzed weakly above her, throwing the puddles into silver patches. Unit 117 sat at the far end, its roll-up door trembling slightly, as if breathing. Forensics arrived 6 minutes later, but Quinn didn't wait. The padlock was already snapped, cut clean through. Inside, the air hung thick with chemical tang and cold metal. A faint hum came from somewhere in the corner. Joel flicked on his flashlight. You hear that? They followed the sound to a black cabinet humming faintly, vents exhaling warm air. Inside, 6 hard drives spun quietly, each labeled with addresses. Not just Briar Lane. Dozens of other streets, other towns. Every one with the same pattern. Doorbell IDs, timestamps, usernames. Jesus, Joel whispered. He's been mirroring cameras from half the county. Quinn crouched, tracing one cable with her finger. He's not just watching. He's recording them, building his own network. Her phone buzzed. Dispatch. Tom Rusk is missing. His wife says he left after you did. Car still in the driveway. Joel swore under his breath. He's on foot? Quinn shook her head. No, he's still here. A faint click echoed through the corridor, metal on metal. The sound came from the end of the row. Joel turned his light and froze. A storage door halfway open. Shadows moved behind it. "Police!" Quinn called. "Step out with your hands where I can see them!" No answer. She approached slowly, flashlight up, gun drawn. The rain hit the roof in sharp bursts. Then the door creaked wider. A man's voice came through, low, almost calm. "You shouldn't have opened 117, Detective." Tom Rusk stepped out, soaked through, face pale under the floodlight. His eyes glowed with that glassy calm of someone far past fear. "Where's Samir Patel?" Quinn asked. Tom tilted his head. "You think I hurt him?" He smiled faintly. "I gave him freedom. He begged for it." "What freedom?" Joel asked. Tom looked down the corridor, toward the dark end where rainwater pooled. "You watch them too, don't you? The faces, the lives behind the glass. They talk to you. Eventually you see it. They're not people anymore. They're signals, patterns." Quinn's finger tightened slightly on the trigger. "Where is he, Tom?" Tom gestured toward the cabinet. "In there. All of them are. Samir wanted to see how deep the network went. He made it perfect. I just kept it running." Quinn nodded at Joel, who started photographing the drives. But before he could pull the first one free, the cabinet lights flickered. One by one, the drives began ejecting automatically. Click, click, click. "Backup wipe," Joel muttered. He triggered a self-clean. Quinn lunged forward, pulling the power cord. But it was too late. Every light went dark. The hum died. "Tom!" she barked. "Turn it off now!" But Tom only smiled wider. "You can't turn it off. It's never off." Outside, thunder rolled. Quinn glanced at her radio. No signal. The whole block was a dead zone. Then from behind them, a faint chime. Joel turned. The corridor security camera mounted on the ceiling, a ring model, glowed blue. "It's recording," he said quietly, "but we didn't activate it." The screen above the door showed a live feed of the corridor, Quinn, Joel, and Tom standing there. But as they watched, another figure appeared in the frame, behind them. A man in a hoodie, face obscured, holding something that shimmered faintly. The missing ring hub from Samir's house. Quinn spun, gun raised. The corridor was empty, just rain and silence. Tom's smile faded into something strange. Awe, almost devotion. "He came back," he whispered. "He doesn't like being unplugged." "Who?" Quinn demanded. But Tom didn't answer. He stepped backward into the shadows, lifted his hands to the ceiling, and said quietly, "Watch the feed." Then he was gone. The monitors in the cabinet blinked back to life. One by one, screens filled with doorbell views. Every house on Briar Lane, every porch light glowing blue. On the bottom corner feed, a new image appeared. Detective Quinn and Joel standing in Unit 117, staring directly into the lens. Only the timestamp didn't match the moment. It showed 5 minutes ahead. Joel's voice cracked the silence. "Mara, it's showing what's about to happen." The floodlights flickered once, then everything went black. Before this final chapter begins, you know what to do. Subscribe now, because what you're about to hear was never supposed to be released. When the lights came back on, the storage corridor was empty. The hum of the drives had stopped. The screens were dark, and the rain outside had turned into a steady, metallic hiss. Detective Mara Quinn stood still, gun raised, heartbeat pulsing in her ears. Joel was gone. She called out his name once. Only her echo answered. Her flashlight flickered as she moved toward the exit, each step echoing in the hollow space. The storage unit. As roll-up door had been pulled shut from the outside, she pressed against it, Locked. Open. On the floor near the server cabinet, something buzzed weakly. Joel's phone. Screen cracked. Camera still open. The feed showed Quinn herself, standing exactly where she was now. But in the corner of the video, behind her shoulder, a figure was visible. A man. Motionless. Watching. She turned sharply. Nothing. Just the hum of the rain and a faint red glow from the far wall. One of the hard drives, somehow still alive, blinking like a heartbeat. Quinn knelt beside it. The casing was melted at the edges, the label half gone. But the letters that remained were clear enough. Archive, Briar Lane, live. Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. Against instinct, she answered. A voice, distorted and hollow, whispered, "Detective Quinn, step into the frame." She froze. The voice wasn't Tom's. It wasn't Samir's. It was hers. Static crackled, followed by another whisper. "Everyone wants to see how they look on the other side." The feed on Joel's phone changed. Now it showed the outside of the storage facility, a camera view from somewhere high above. And there, walking slowly toward the building through the rain, was Joel. His clothes were soaked, his eyes blank, like someone sleepwalking. He stopped at the door, looked directly into the camera, and mouthed something. 3 words. "He's still recording." Then the image froze. Quinn stepped back, adrenaline surging. She scanned the room. No exit except the locked door. Then her flashlight beam hit something half hidden behind the monitors. A metal hatch, same type as the one in Tom's basement. A ring-shaped latch at its center. She hesitated for a moment, then pulled it open. The smell hit her first. Damp earth, cold and stale. A narrow crawl space stretched beneath, wires running through the dirt like veins. The cables pulsed faintly, blue light sliding along them in waves. Quinn climbed down. The space opened into a small chamber lined with racks of equipment. Routers, old monitors, dozens of doorbell cameras all wired into one massive loop. On one wall, a single screen glowed, showing a live view of her face from a camera only a few feet away. And next to the monitor, sitting upright in a chair, was Samir Patel. He was alive, barely. His eyes were open but glassy, fixed on the monitor showing Quinn's reflection. Electrodes dotted his temples, cables running to a portable battery pack. "Samir," she whispered, "can you hear me?" His lips moved weakly. "Don't. Stop it." "Stop what?" "The upload." Quinn turned to the equipment. Every light on the rack blinked in unison. Steady, fast, mechanical. A message scrolled across the central monitor. Auto-sync enabled, mirroring to public feeds. She reached for the nearest power cord, but Samir's voice rasped out again, sharp and panicked. "Don't unplug it! He's in the signal now!" Before she could respond, the wall of monitors came alive. Hundreds of feeds from homes, schools, stores. All different places, all showing people looking directly at their own cameras. And then, one by one, each feed began to twist. The faces on screen started smiling in unison, too wide, too synchronized. Samir's breath hitched. He found a way to exist inside the loop. The system doesn't need him anymore. The lights began to flicker violently. The cameras all turned, as if tracking her. Quinn stumbled backward, grabbing her phone to call dispatch, but the screen had already gone black. A single text notification appeared. Ring network. New user added. M. Quinn. Active. A ringing sound filled the air, deep and rhythmic, like a heartbeat through an amplifier. The screens flashed white. Samir slumped forward, the monitors reflecting in his open eyes. Quinn tore the cables free, yanking cords, sparks flying. The power died, plunges, and the room into total darkness. Silence. Then from somewhere in the black, a soft voice, her own, whispered, "Motion detected at your front door." Epilogue. Narration style ending. Epilogue. Narration style ending. 2 days later, local news reported the discovery of an abandoned storage unit filled with melted electronics and no sign of Detective Quinn or Joel Park. The footage from their body cams ended abruptly at 3:11 a.m. But 3 days after that, residents across Bryan County began receiving strange alerts from their home cameras. New shared user, M. Quinn. When some checked the footage, they saw a woman standing at the edge of their driveway, watching silently, her face hidden in shadow. The timestamp? Always 5 minutes in the future. So before you check your notifications tonight, ask yourself, if your camera suddenly starts recording by itself, who's watching you through it? If you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe before your camera does it for you.